Yes.
Please.
There is another question. Usually some Arabs give certain signs of the Imam Mahdi. For instance, his name, his origin from among the Prophet's progeny, being from Arabia. Are these the principal signs for the Imam Mahdi? If not, what are the real signs for the advent of Al-Mahdi?
You see, what are signs? Those who distinguish between one thing and another, or those who confuse things. First, this is what should be understood. If there is a sign, so-called sign, instead of leading you from darkness to truth, it leads you halfway where you don't know whether it is darkness or truth. Then what is the purpose of that sign? Now, these scholars, I call them medievalists. They do not go all the way back to Hazrat Rasul Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and understand his prophecies in the light of the wisest of prophets, who spoke like Jesus Christ, sometimes in parables, sometimes in metaphors, but stop midway and look at the scholars born during the politicization of Islam in that period, who were very harsh in their attitude, very, sword-minded, trigger-happy people. So they understood Islam with reference to whatever they knew of that age. And the mullahs of today, I don't understand their attitude. Instead of going all the way back to Rasul Kareem and the Quran and trying to infer sensible, acceptable meaning with reference to this age, they return halfway and stop there and say, Mullah said this, Mullah said that, and that Imam said this, and that Imam said that. As he understood, he must have been right. And they destroy the whole thing with reference to the Quran and the Hadith, and they lose the meaning. Now, during that period, many traditions were in rotation. And those traditions, as I understand, if they contradicted each other, they could not be all true. If they apparently contradicted each other and you delve deeper into them, you could have found some system of reconciliation and compromise. But they did not bother about it. These ulama of that period, they accepted everything verbatim, word for word, exactly as it is. And they didn't bother to consider that this will create problems, contradictions attributed to Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And they didn't bother to see that these things can happen accidentally as well. How could you believe an Imam to be from God if his name was Muhammad, if his mother's name was Amna, if his father's name was Abdullah, and he belonged to the progeny of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if he happened to claim to be Imam Mahdi? This is the question. If these are really signs, we do not confuse things, then there was exactly such an Imam born in Yemen. Why have you rejected him? Why don't you believe in him? Was it Yemen or no, Sudan? Sudan. The Mahdi of Sudan fulfilled these requirements. And unfortunately, he met with disaster ultimately and has become a part of history. So the question is, this is not only the one person, there are others who happen to have fulfilled these criteria. There is one Maulana Muhammad Jaunpuri of India. He also happened to fulfill this criteria. So if these traditions really speak of distinctive signs, then all Muslims who insist on these traditions must believe first on them. Forget about the Mahdi or the Qadian. But before that, these signs have already been fulfilled. Why do they reject them? So when they have rejected the sign, why do they demand this sign from us? The sign which they have already rejected? Now you see the argument. A few years ago in Mecca, a party of armed men under his leadership fulfilled all the requirements of one of the ahadith about the Mahdi. He would make khuruj from here, then he will go and stand by the wall of the Mecca of Khana Kaaba and announce his Mahdiyyat from there, and all these things were fulfilled.